Trust me on this one, I don't want to be talking about this story to start the show this evening. No, I definitely do not. But I, as always, will just bring you the news and what is circulating around media sources. It has already been a massive day today. I didn't need Jadon Sancho and the possible return of that clown to Manchester United being a hot topic tonight. But it is, and it is coming out from the Daily Mail, and Chris Wheeler are going to fill you in on everything that is going on with that situation. How the hell can Jadon Sancho come back to Manchester United? I will explain, and then we'll get your thoughts on that one. Updates on Maguire, on Casemiro, and of course, today was the day. The massive news about Manchester United's new stadium, the new Trafford, the Trident, the 100,000-seater stadium, all of the infrastructure around it, what is to come. Get your opinions in on that as well. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but more in terms of who's paying for it. I was talking to Sky today. The questions were asked to me. I answered the questions as honestly as I could. And I'm still asking the questions now. I'm going to talk into about what Omar Barada said in his interview with Sky, with his interview with the BBC as well, regarding how they're going to fund it. And there's a certain family that isn't involved. I've just had this confirmed right now. I will confirm that to you all and go through everything that I know at the end of this show as well. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about something a bit different for the sake of variety. I'm sick of mentioning Sir Jim Ratcliffe at the moment. So we're going to go in on this story about Jadon Sancho to kickstart the evening off and everything that's happening around the transfer side of things. Now, we know about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's interview with Gary Neville yesterday, covered. There's me talking about not wanting to mention that man's name again. I'm sick of it. I'm going to bring it straight up at the start. But he did talk about recruitment. And that's where United are going to struggle going forward. He made a point of saying that everything that's been put in place counts for nothing unless Manchester United's recruitment is bang on point, and we are going to go forward in a direction where everybody at Manchester United is in the know and on board and does have the same vision. I don't know where that is. That comes down to the people that Ineos have employed. But Jadon Sancho was a mistake from before. Sir Jim mentioned him in the interview with Gary Neville yesterday, and he was talking about him actually having to pay for Jadon Sancho still this season, this summer. He talks about the £89 million in transfer fees alone before we buy anybody new that we have to still pay as the instalment, as planned in all of the instalment payments for all of the historical transfers. So United are up against it. We did think that Jadon Sancho was going to bring in, however, a nice crisp 25 million to kickstart the summer and maybe sweeten it up a little bit, like take the edge off. But apparently, according to Chris Wheeler, get this, I'm going to read it out right now. In terms of this Jadon Sancho situation, Chris Wheeler has written in his piece in the Daily Mail, there is still a possibility that Jadon Sancho could end up back at Manchester United this summer if Chelsea decide not to go through with the deal. What do you mean not go through with the deal? It was set in stone and done, wasn't it? It would cost Chelsea a significant penalty to pull out of the deal. Right, okay. What is that penalty? I don't know, but it's probably not going to be as much as leading 25 million. And are they going to pay United that fee? Oh my God, this guy, honestly, he is like a thorn in everybody's side, is he not? My God, send him back to Dortmund. It seems the only place he can play. Anyway, there's more on this, and they go into a little bit more detail. Another issue could be Sancho's contract with Chelsea. Now, check this out. Players often agree terms with their new club before joining on loan with a view to a permanent move. But it's understood Sancho has not done this yet and hasn't done so at all. Honestly, I have no idea what is going on with this right now, and no idea at all in terms of everything regarding Jadon Sancho's situation and everything that's occurred here. I thought this was done and dusted and the deal was already set in stone. Hopefully it is that case, and we are looking at this already being set up. Like Sir Jim was talking to Gary Neville about Jadon Sancho and what it's costing him, like I've just said then, but right now Chris Wheeler reporting this, it's like, seriously, where are they digging up this information from? How is this not happening right now? How is Manchester United in a situation where Jadon Sancho could actually return to Manchester United? So Chelsea can now pull out of this deal. If I were Chelsea, I'd be pulling right out of this bleeding deal. I thought this was already finished and finalised. Is this something that Dan Ashworth has left us with? And we cannot now actually rectify, we cannot change? I don't know. So the way it is, and I've not seen any other write-up about the actual fee and what the penalty would be for for Chelsea for Jadon Sancho to return to Manchester United, for them to pull out of the deal as it is. I don't know, but it scares the living shit out of me. Honestly, to have that man coming back this summer and have to deal with that, like with everything else, no, please, for God's sake. Like, there's enough going on right now. The United fan base cannot handle Jadon Sancho possibly returning to Manchester United. Honestly, he is an absolute joke of a footballer. He really is. And I don't understand how everybody who has been in for him has not seen right through him. Like, where has the recruitment been in what Jadon Sancho is? Like, Maresca felt like he could get something out of him at Chelsea quite clearly. That's why they took him on loan. United, we're thinking we're quids in. They've sealed this deal. Chelsea have to finish 14 and below. And then Jadon Sancho has to sign for Chelsea. That was what we knew. But apparently Chelsea can pay a huge penalty now and get out of this deal. And United are still stuck with Jadon Sancho. Don't know. Honestly, don't know. But we are running out of contract for Jadon Sancho right now. In fact, I'm going to come to your comments on this in a moment, so do bear with me on this one. But I'm going to check up Jadon Sancho's contract situation right now, just to make sure, because I think he's only got a year left. I'm pretty certain he's only got a year left on his contract. Let's just double check on this one. Bear with me 1 second, everybody. Right, so he signed a 5-year contract at Manchester United, including an average annual salary of $13 million, 2024. Sancho will earn a base salary of $7.8 million while carrying a cap of $7.8 million. 2021 to 2026 was right. Jadon Sancho is into the last year of his contract. We have to sell him. We have to sell him for something. If anything, honestly, worst case scenario from this, I would say that Jadon Sancho coming back to Manchester United, you're looking there at possibly getting that big fee off Chelsea and then selling him on again for peanuts in the summer to make up maybe even more money. I don't know. Maybe Innes are looking at this and saying, actually, if we get like a 10 million fee off Chelsea for a penalty, then we could sell him for maybe 20 million to someone else. Maybe we get 30 million in total out of the deal at the end of the day. I don't know, but who is going to buy Jadon Sancho? At least he's playing right now for Chelsea, and that's a good thing at least, isn't it? He's actually getting game time, so he's actually putting himself out there in the market. His figures don't really add up much. Is he worth 20 million? You tell me. I won't pay for him at all right now, but that alone, that deal there, I mean, I'm going to come to the chat in a moment on this one before we move on to other news regarding Manchester United current players, which is concerning again for me, and one of them especially. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Jadon Sancho returning to Manchester United is a disaster for me. I mean, is there anybody in here right now that feels like that is good news? Surely not. I'm looking. I'm scrolling. I'm not seeing anything. Obligation to buy. What the F? He can't come back. Significant penalty, 8 million. Then sell him for 25 to Dortmund. My case, that's what I pretty much said then. Like, can you get a big penalty fee back off him and then sell him really cheap, as in 20 to 25 million, and maybe make yourself a little bit more out of the Sancho deal going into this summer? It's nitpicking, and it's not really going to earn us that much more money. It's just a bigger problem, I feel. Just having him around and having to sell him again is harder to sell him for me. I would rather him just go to Chelsea. 25 million. Has anybody ever backed out of a deal like this? I think this is what we need to look up, because this is unheard of again, and it's typical that it's bleeding Manchester United that this has actually happened to, and it's unheard of within football quarters, really, isn't it? Like, seriously, like, this deal should have been sewn up and finished and finalised, but of course, because it's United, apparently there's a back door out of it, which is a huge penalty fee, and then he goes back to United. But we've still got that massive wage, that massive contract, 1 year left on his deal. He'll end up bleeding walking out for free because he'll dig his heels in at Manchester United, this prick. So, a bit harsh, I know that is. But I've not got the time of day for this man at all. Mr. Freedom Fighter himself. Honestly, no. Please, United, make something happen so we don't have to deal with this guy at this football club. For God's sake. God, Sancho coming back is not a good idea for the team. We have to let all those players with big wages to leave. We do, but if nobody wants them, this is our problem. This is our struggle. The last thing Manchester United need this summer is someone like him coming back, because it hampers the whole transfer window. It really does. Like, you have to try and then concentrate on trying to get him out, Anthony out, Rashford out, and Casemiro out. I mean, seriously? Oh, come on. Like, don't do this to us right now, please. Make sure that you do put a like on the video. Fantastic already, actually. Over 100 of you have already done that. Legends, a lot of you. Let's get into a couple of super chats as well. We've got one from Dino. Says, Adam, it's not April Fools. Are you serious on Sancho? I'm not. I am on. If he came back, I would be devastated. But this is being run by the Daily Mail, and Chris Wheeler has found some form of loophole and clause in Jadon Sancho's contract with Chelsea, which would make him come back to Manchester United if Chelsea wanted to pay a fee. Mr. Creed MC says, anytime we deal with Chelsea, we get fooked over. It's a good point, actually, mate. We do, don't we? I hate this. Someone came back at me before after my vlog against the Arsenal and said, you were talking about Declan Rice and we got Mason Mount instead. Mason Mount was like 55 million and Rice was 105 million. Yeah, I know that. But my whole point was we could have not bought an Arna in and not brought Mount in and brought Declan Rice in. That's proper recruitment. That's a player that Manchester United needed at the time that this club failed to seal. And that's the issue that we've got right now. The previous running of this club leaves us in this shit mire that we're in right now. And that's why we're talking about Jadon Sancho. Like, where has this come from? Come on. Seriously, Man United. But yeah, thank you everybody for liking the video as well. Make sure you have subscribed as well. Give me your thoughts on what I said earlier on. I am going to come to the stadium talk at the back end of this show, so get yourselves ready and your comments in. Not quite yet. We have got some other news to talk about, but let's just get some more comments in on this one. The report has come from the Daily Mail. I'm just quoting them on what Chris Wheeler has written even. Ignoring the Daily Mail, says Greg. Go for it, Greg, old mates. You don't have to listen to the story, but if there is a clause there, they're going to write it. And if they're going to write it, the clause must be there. They can fabricate a story all they want. They've just said there's an option there. And the way that he's playing and what's going on right now, you wouldn't put it past the situation with Chelsea taking advantage of Manchester United again, would you? You really wouldn't. Sancho is not a man. Stop referring him as one. A little boy is what he is. A big baby, as Roy Keane would say, says Mark Silverback. Smash the likes, guys. Adam at putting in the work to keep us updated with the latest news. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. The club is rubbish. Demo, straight to the point. Straight to the point, mate. Kieran says, someone said in a previous video that the new stadium should be called the Theatre of Dreams. That would be nice to use the old one's nickname as the new one's official name. I'm going to be moving on to that, actually, Kieran, actually. That, for me, is everything that... That, for me, is everything that is important to this right now. I've talked about the style. I've talked about the situation with Sir Jim, Gary Neville, on the timing, the protest. I've talked about the look. I like the stadium. I'm not going to change my mind. I've looked at it, and I have... I've said my piece. I'm going to talk about it in a bit, actually. I wanted to get through other news first of all. The mighty Flynn, future player contracts should be performance-based purely with the inclusion of a suspension or even termination of payment due to overly lengthy injury. Whether or not you're going to be able to entice any players in with that sort of contract is the question that you would probably ask on that one, I would say. I can see players turning away from United if that was there. I get the idea, and I'm fully with it, but in a day of player power and players and agents ruling the roost as it is, I don't think you're ever going to be able to get that. I do believe that contract clauses need to be implemented into Manchester United players now. I don't think we're paying as higher wages as we would before anyway, and I do think that Manchester United now are in a better place for that side of things. But that back story, that history, that negative past keeps on coming back and knocking on the bastard door, doesn't it? Does it not? Like, just go away. Rid yourselves of all of this negative past history. We cannot get rid of it. It just lingers on, doesn't it? It does. It's just clinging on, like, honestly. Jadon Sancho is a rebel and too effing lazy to be any good to our revival at all. Chelsea could have him for a song, but no. Why? Yeah, because we're talking about that exact reason right now. He's a tit. It's what he is. He's a problem. He's a freedom fighter and he is a waster. What a waste of talent and career. Absolutely right up there with Jesse Lingard, this guy. Go over to Korea, actually. Go and play with Jesse. Might enjoy yourself a bit more. Go and join the Beans. Be the new Beans, brother. That's what it is. Sancho is not missed. Not one bit he isn't missed. Okay, other news as well. Let's get through this now. So that was the Sancho situation and what's happening there. I do want to move to the stadium in a moment, so I want to get through the other news surrounding Manchester United. By the way, Paul Pogba is now available on a free agent. If someone wants to take him, he can play football again. Broke by Romano earlier on and a few other sources. Would you like him? Gary O'Driscoll, head of sports medicine, and Jim Moxon, men's first team doctor, are set to leave Manchester United. This is not connected to the redundancies. Maybe issues again. I'm not happy with certain performance-related things in that area. I have no idea. Could it be because Manchester United keep on getting injuries? Maybe so. We will see, won't we, going forward? But they are going to stay on until the transitional period has passed. So all of that news, you would have seen it pop up on social media today about the doctors and the head of medicine at Manchester United leaving. They're still there now until someone else comes in. They are still going to be in situ, and that is going to carry on for a short time longer anyway. Casemiro's agent is actively searching for a new club for the midfielder. His agents have scheduled new meetings, particularly in Saudi Arabia and the United States. Manchester United don't want to sell him for less than 25 million. 25 million would see Manchester United draw a profit on PSR with Casemiro. That is where United are looking in terms of these sorts of players right now, like Casemiro. We know, I think it's about 18 million or something we need to sell him to break even with PSR. If we sold him for 25 million, we'd actually be turning a profit, and that's that big wage also gone off the books. And his agent looking, it's good news for United. It's good news. Get going, get busy, and then hopefully Casemiro is gone and someone else can step in who is going to be able to play a full season for United and give Ruben Amorim everything he needs. I think this is where we're at right now. Has anybody actually in the chat been convinced by Casemiro? I thought it might be worth holding on to him for a little bit longer. Experience, younger players coming in, anyone at all? Just give me a yay or a nay in that comment section, please, everyone. Let me know if you think it is worth keeping hold of Casemiro or not. I don't know. Personally, it's a no for me. I don't think anybody's going to say keep Casemiro at this point. He's played well recently, but them wages? Surely not. I just have to test it. You don't attack me. Don't just have to test it just to see if there's anybody. Nope, too slow. No. I was right. Nobody wants to keep Casemiro at Manchester United. It's dead right. It is. Checking through all of the other news. And yes, I do believe Manchester United. And there's some weird stories going around at the moment. I want to talk about transfers like Casemiro and Jadon Sancho and the concern there as well. But there is also a story. Listen to this one. I don't get this one at all. I really don't. It's to do with Harry Maguire. Manchester United are actively looking at extending Harry Maguire's contract again, even though we've just triggered the 1-year extension. That story came out before and I was like, what? Why? Who is saying this? Why would you even think that this was a good idea? Like, 1 more year of Harry Maguire is 1 year enough, I feel. And that, for me, is done. Finished. See you later. That's it. Thank you for your time, Harry. You've seen out your contract. Any sort of sale of Harry Maguire would be seen as decent profit for Manchester United at this point. We've done well with that, considering what we actually paid for him. For a player to actually fully see out a contract, it's unheard of these days. So no, I don't want to see Harry Maguire sign a new deal. Why would you even be thinking that? We're not that desperate, surely, are we? I mean, you've got plenty of centre-backs there. No need at all for me. Next season, fair enough. He's a reserve defender. Come in, help the team out. Passionate leader, United fan. He knows what it takes to be a Man United player. Not perform to that level at times, we'll admit that. But no way that we're keeping Harry Maguire past another year. We have got other reports. Daniel Longo, another agent over in Italy, is talking about Ederson again. Manchester United are leading the race for Atalanta's Ederson and have communicated a desire to make an offer. Manchester United are likely to offer a fee of €60 million. Where the hell is that money coming from? Is that coming in from Rashford? Is that coming in from someone else being sold? I don't get it. Like, why all of a sudden are we getting all of these transfer news stories coming on? Is it stuff just being sent out there to deflect away? I mean, I don't think any of us would want to be deflecting anything away from the stadium. This is like the biggest news that Manchester United have had in a very, very long time. It is. Lenny Yoro is set to miss Manchester United's game against Real Sociedad this Thursday due to injury. I am at Carrington tomorrow. I will be at the Ruben Amorim press conference. I will speak to the media, try and get some inside info as to what happened today around the stadium launch and all of the news, because all of the media that was there today will be at Carrington tomorrow as well. So, yeah, the Athletic, the Telegraph, the Guardian, Daily Mail, MEN, everyone will be there tomorrow. So we'll see what we can get conversation-wise. We are there for a few hours tomorrow, in between open training and the press conference with Ruben ahead of Sociedad. But in that press conference, it is being said that Ruben will inform us that Lenny Yoro is still not fit and will miss the game, not being rushed back, and United will cope without. Will that mean Aiden Heaven? Will it mean Victor Lindelof? We'll get an update on Harry Maguire as well, and him coming back. But I think we've got enough cover, and I think we'll be all right. If their strike force was anything to go by from last Thursday, I'm pretty confident that United will see the deal, and we will get through the tie. That's a lot to ask that, isn't it? I know, but yeah, there are all of your updates on that. Just a quick one before we go into the stadium talk again and what we want to talk about the back end of this show. So Alex Ferguson talking as well in terms of United always striving to be the best and get the best. Old Trafford holds so many special memories for me personally, but we must be brave and seize this opportunity to build a new home fit for the future where new history can be made. That's Sir Alex Ferguson's quote on the new stadium. I wonder if Ruben Amorim will be asked about that new stadium. Question being, do you think you will be the manager when that new stadium is built? He's not going to be, is he? No manager lasts that long, and I don't see the stadium being here for another 7 years. Personally, I don't. Sir Jim Radcliffe has said 5 years. It all depends on the redevelopments and reconstruction of Trafford Wharf, and that's regeneration that the government is paying for. Now, lots of questions, and this is where I want you to get your thoughts in on this one, because this has been something that has really hit the fan base in terms of hot topic of conversation today with the news of the stadium. Who the hell is paying? Who is paying? Well, right now, I've just checked from people I know in and around the development, the stadium, everything. As you know, we brought you the news the other night that there was a big statement coming and a big announcement. I knew it was the stadium before we said it. We said it on Monday night. We were told this beforehand, first-hand information about what was actually going on. So, same people have said, look, there is no investment at all, and this is just as it is at the moment. It may change. We may find out some more information over the rest of this week. We've been told that as well, and I will bring you anything that I do here. There is absolutely zero investment from the Glazer family. None whatsoever so far. I don't get it. Honestly, I do get the fact that Sir Jim and what he's saying and how he wants to turn Manchester United around, like he spoke about last night in that interview. I get what he's saying. Like, he's looking at the future. He's looking ahead now. He wants to get ahead of this. And this is all going to come from banks, from investments, from outside investments. They're hoping this whole project is appealing enough for people to invest into the new stadium. And ultimately, in the end, it will be the fans that pay for it in the future. I think this was covered by Sky before as well. From Harry Selikoff was talking about this on Sky about it being bankers. Omar Barada was speaking to Sky and the BBC earlier on as well, and he feels confident that Manchester United will find it easy to find the investment and people wanting to invest in a lucrative, as he said, project like this, and the new stadium being the centrepiece of this regeneration area of the Northwest and Manchester. It is a focal point. It is going to house some of the biggest and best events, including Manchester United games on the planet. Sporting, concerts, everything. They are selling the whole package. They are selling everything. And to have somebody's name on there, on that stadium, and naming right wise, that has to happen for United to afford this. There's no other way that I see Manchester United being able to afford this stadium build. There isn't. I don't know how to do it. Like, there will be bankers, there will be loans, they will earn off the interest and things like that into this. Their names will be over it. They'll be all over the boards. That new projector screen, which is going to go full 360 around the stadium, you've seen it. In fact, if you have, I mean, surely you have, but anybody who hasn't seen the new Manchester United stadium, where have you been today? It's been everywhere. It's there. That is Manchester United's new stadium right there. The Three Peaks, the Tridents. This is inside. So as you can see, you can imagine a sponsor coming in to look at this stadium. You can imagine him coming in and going, oh, can you imagine us going across that board, right across the top of the stand there, projected all the way around, so every single camera in that stadium is going to pick up on that. That I feel is what Manchester United are pushing in selling this stadium. When it actually comes to the other part of this and the outside and this canopy that they talk about, when you look at it just from the outside there on its own, and you look at the amount of screens. There's screens everywhere. I mean, right there I can pick up 7 or 8 just by looking at it. You can imagine the sponsors being plastered everywhere all over that. It's a marketing dream. Manchester United's matchday revenues will be going through the absolute roof. They will be profiting on this. And just a quick one on this and all. And like anybody who's trying to drive some form of agenda or narrative against Ineos in saying that this is all spin, this is all just made up and cover, they're going to earn off this in the future. What do you expect a billionaire businessman to come into and do when he's purchased shares for over 1.3 billion? Do you expect him to sit there and just accept that he's just going to throw his money into United and nothing comes back? You are tapped in the head if you think that that's something to actually go in on. Of course we knew that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, second richest man in the country, was going to come to United and expect to get something back. Nobody believed in that bollocks, did they? He's a businessman, for God's sake. He hasn't got where he's got by sitting there and letting someone else use his money and blow it. He's going to make money. He's going to make a fortune off this. He's took advantage of a situation right now and he's seen his chance and he's gone in and he's taken it. So anyone who thinks that they can run something and say that this is all just spin and he thinks he's going to convince the United fans that this is going to be legacy, he doesn't need to take any money out of it, shut up. No, he's not. He's going to take money. He's a businessman. Oh my, honestly, listening to some people today and looking at some comments, even some people talking about the stadium at first, because I got absolute daggers when I said that stadium is impressive. It is. It's insanely impressive. I like it. And I've not changed my mind throughout the day. I just think, I've seen some people, I got absolutely dogs abuse this morning. I've seen what the 58 said. I think that was a load of crap, to be honest. There's nothing that they said in that statement for me that really rang true about that stadium. I do believe that it has got the heartbeat of Manchester United in there. Look, in terms of the whole design and everything, there is no argument on that. Investment and what the Glazers are doing, who's spending the money, who is actually not spending it, where the money's coming from, I've got a big issue with. And I think that's where everybody and all of the groups should be going in on this. It's like, right, okay, How much is it going to cost? 2 billion. How are you going to fund that? Naming rights. Talking about the new stadium name, there's no chance it's going to be a straightforward name. It'll be the Someone-So's New Trafford or the Summit's Theatre of Dreams. It'll be something like that. It has to be, because they have to make money. They have to make money. That literally is everything that is running this right now. Manchester United are always going to be looking at making a deal that works for them. Ineos will do that even more so than what the Glazers are doing, because they are bleeding money right now, where the Glazers are just lapping it up. So expect someone's name to be on the side of that stadium. Expect sponsors to be plastered everywhere, all over it. That's how they're going to sell it. But we will have to pay this back as fans. That's what will happen. And I do think that this is why Manchester United are confident that we will be back in black and earning a lot of money. Absolutely legends. A lot of you over 1,400 in the room with us right now, creeping up to 400 live likes. Let's get that up at 500 today. We're easily going to make 500, aren't we, today? Please get onto that, everybody, and let me know your thoughts on this. Let's get into the comments section on this now. In terms of the stadium, Boxing says, Adam, club owners are not supposed to buy clubs and make money. It's supposed to be for sporting reasons. Yeah, when was it ever sporting reasons with the Glazers, mate? Come on. We know for like 2 decades they've just bled us dry and had no interest at all in the sporting side of things. They didn't even turn up to the new stadium build today. This has all been driven by Ineos. Imagine a majority shareholder of a Manchester United, the biggest club on the planet, and one of the biggest announcements in a century of the club's history, and you're the majority shareholder, and you're nowhere to be seen when we're about to launch the biggest stadium in Great Britain, second biggest in Europe, changing stadium after 115 years of history, and you're not there. And there's no sporting interest at all. Show me the effing money. That's all it is with the Glazers. They don't give a shit about anything else. And like I've just said then, there is no sign of any investment coming in from the Glazer family. They're not going to invest. I don't know how this is going to go. I honestly don't know what Ineos are doing right now. They feel confident in everything that they're doing. I'm listening to Barada today. I'm listening to Sir Jim Radcliffe today. They're all bullish. They're talking like they actually own the football club. I didn't hear one question about the Glazers today. I didn't hear one question from the investment side of thing about the Glazers. I said this on Sky. Are they getting away with this scot-free? Are they not investing nothing into this and are going to take money out of what comes from this? I honestly don't know what the angle is for Ineos. There is something we do not know in the detail that they are confident about. And everybody's got their own conspiracy theories and trying to figure out how Ineos will make something out of this. I've called it the leverage against the Glazers with the stadium. But right now, that looks like that's not happening either. And someone has to be having that conversation, surely. You cannot expect Ineos to front all of this and then get no investment from the majority shareholders of this football club. But then you ask yourself the same question and you start talking to yourself and arguing with yourself, well, they haven't in nearly 2 decades invested a penny. So why would they do this now? How are Ineos thinking that this is the right plan? Is the question I've been asking myself all day. Like, yeah, you're organising the bankers. You're organising all of the investments. You're getting everything in. You're dealing with the task force. You're speaking to the media. So Jim's doing interview after interview after interview since he's been in for what? Going on 18 months right now. Like, we don't none of that from the Glazers. And all while this is going on, bing, can pull the plug. The Glazers can just go, nah, sorry, we're doing things differently now. We're taking control from here. All the Ineos work is gone. They could literally say, no, we don't agree. They're the majority. I just don't. There's something in the fine print. There is something in here that is a different approach that we don't see from Ineos. There has to be. So Jim Radcliffe's not a stupid man. There's something going on behind the scene. Qatar might even get some rights, either in billboards or even stand naming rights. Anyone can buy into this project. That's the thing with a new stadium. There's nothing that is brand new. It's a clean slate. So anybody can put their mark on it. Nobody has claimed anything at all in that stadium. There's no history behind it. There's no nostalgia. There's nothing anyone's going to get upset about. It is completely new, and anybody can come in and put some piece into this. And I think there will be investors queuing up for it, and they will earn a fortune off it. And United will have to pay. But if United are having to pay, who else has to pay? Yep, the fans. And that's ultimately who will pay at the end of the day. Right. Comments. Let's get them in. Did Sancho see the stadium? Says Jordy. New stadium, hell yes. Sancho, hell no, says Gricker. With you on that one, mate. Don't get me wrong. Quickly, again, just to make my point clear, I like the new stadium. I cannot wait. If that is what is going to happen and that is coming, I cannot wait to get in there. I can't. I love it. I really do. I love the design. I like the whole concept. I like the walk-in. I like the surrounding areas. I like the setup inside. In fact, the Stretford End. Did you see the plan for the Stretford End at Old Trafford? Just let me go through it with you right now. So, the Stretford End at Old Trafford would house 23,500 fans. Can you imagine a Stretford End that strong? Would suck the ball into the back of the net, would it not? Like Stretford End. So, but the capacity 23,500, 12,400 on the lower tier, and 11,060 on the upper tier. That is mega. And there is a model of the stadium that the media has been looking at and taking pictures of today, and that does look impressive. It's like a red brick wall. And I think that's what is trying to happen there. Like imitate the wall in Dortmund, imitate the stand at Spurs, that big stand behind the goal, the Kop at Anfield. Obviously, the Stretford End has its own history, and it stands on its own with every one of these big stands in the world at different stadiums. But just to take that across and like build it up and be even bigger, I think that is something that they need to get right as well. 100% like that idea as well. Thomas Mercado with a super chat. Thank you, Thomas. He says, isn't it wonderful how they can find $2 billion to make a load of money, but can't find money for players? They're not allowed to do it that way because of PSR, mate. I'm sure they would have figured out a way to do it. I think they see the stadium will pay for itself in plenty of time. That's the investment side. When you look at that 100,000-seater stadium, Manchester United could be generating about, what? At a guesstimate, considering what Old Trafford makes, considering what Old Trafford hasn't got and what this new stadium has got in infrastructure and things around it, i.e. shops and cafes, restaurants that United will have a piece of as well, you could be looking between 8 and 10 million a match day in revenues for a 100,000-seater stadium. That's phenomenal. And that will start to pay off itself very, very quickly. In terms of what they can do in raising money for it, it's not their money. It's investors' money, and that's the way that they've got to balance it. But I feel like their confidence in matchday revenues. Obviously, we need a team to actually compete because, say, for instance, you've got that stadium. You've got Champions League football. You've got a competitive football side again. More money's coming in through sponsors. And don't forget, in all of this, if City win their case against the Premier League, who's to say Ineos don't plough more money in to the infrastructure and sponsorship of the stadium themselves in pushing this forward and bringing more money into Manchester United? Again, begs the question still, would they do that and invest any of their own money if the Glazers are not relinquishing any more control of the football club in shares? That has to be brought up and discussed also as well. So I think that's something in an area that's maybe an avenue of revenue for Manchester United going forward. What worries me more is investors being brought on board. Then it becomes really messy. Too many chefs in the kitchen comes to mind. I think it's loans. The investment would be loans. They're loaning money. They're going to earn off the interest of them loans and earn a packet. That's what they will look at. I mean, when you talk investment, you can talk naming rights. For one, naming rights, and in America, naming rights, the deals that they make over there for their stadiums, they're quite lucrative and they're different to what they are here. I don't think there's anything that's ever got anywhere near anything in America for naming right reasons. I don't know for certain. I know that City inflated theirs because it was their own sponsors, the Etihad Stadium, obviously. But for instance, the SoFi Stadium, I think that was in the region of 400 and odd million. That was what they paid to have the naming rights to that stadium. Can you imagine if United could get anywhere near that sort and pay for like a quarter of the stadium? Bang! There is the first down payment there, isn't it? In, done, wham bam, thank you ma'am. They get loans from investments to pay for the rest. They pay these loans back over a long period of time with interest, of course. And people will look at that and say that that's debt then ladled on the club. And we're having to deal with more and more. But when you're earning approximately 10 million a match day in revenues with what United could come out of, if you are competing in the Champions League, it's easily manageable. It's very similar to what Arsenal had to do when they didn't spend too much for years because they built the Emirates Stadium. This, on a different scale, much bigger scale, would be similar to that. That's how I could see it. It's the only way I could see it, actually, in fact, in terms of Manchester United getting the money to pay for the stadium, pay it back over a long period of time. I think they will be able to make the payments back. I think United will make fortunes off this stadium. Gary Neville is set to make money out of the stadium project. Also, total waffle. That interview yesterday made me dislike the Rats even more. Look, that interview yesterday definitely give people a different opinion about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, or it enhanced their hate for him as well. It was bound to. But some people will never be convinced. When they've made their mind up about someone and they see someone in a certain light, you're never going to change a person's mind. It's just natural, I think. But sometimes you have to be open, and that's what I've always been on this channel. I've been open to the idea of what the other side's argument is, and that's what I'm seeing there. In what they're trying to do, it's right, and it's what we've always been asking for. The problem you've got is it's all behind in the Glazers and what they're doing. What are the Glazers' plans? What are they thinking? It scares you, doesn't it? Ineos have literally come in the first 18 months. We're already redeveloping Carrington, and that's going to be state of the art. And we're already now announcing plans for a brand new 100,000-seater stadium to bring Manchester United back into the modern era of football. In 18 months. But the Glazers are still sat there, up there. I mean, seriously, what is going on? There is a link in the live chat, everybody, to our sponsor, Match Bingo. Please do jump on board with Match Bingo. Join the fun tonight in the Champions League. Grab your card. Right now, there is an offer. If you do sign up using that link there of mine on the channel, and you do go onto the app, download the app, log in, create an account to deposit, you get an extra £10 there to bet. It's dead simple. Buy your card for a particular game, 15 match events. If you get 5 in a row, you win. 2 5 in a rows, as in 2 lines. You know bingo, you've played it before. Get a full house, jackpot. 200 grand paid out already. And I won 50 quid the other day, so yeah, it's definitely worth it. Get onto it. It all helps the channel as well, everybody. Please bet aware and obviously spend to your means. Don't go crazy. It does keep it easy and simple for you as well. Easy to win, easy to understand, and you can't spend too much. So, great way just to have a little bit of a laugh. Bring in bingo to the match day. Thank you, Match Bingo, our sponsors on that. That's going into the Champions League tonight anyway. And maybe doing some reactions on football talks later on as well, everyone, if you're interested. Obviously, it's Liverpool against PSG tonight. That's the one that I'll be keeping a beady eye on. Omar Barada says Manchester United are aiming to move into their new stadium for the 2030-31 season. That's from Samuel Luckhurst. Now, Barada was in there today, obviously talking. I did mention that. Obviously, Samuel Luckhurst was there for the MEN. He was part of the media that was invited along to the launch. Yeah, 2031 is 6 years away. 5 to 6 years they expect to move in. That's the aim anyway. And that's what United are thinking. By then, apparently, according to Mission 21, Manchester United would have already lifted the Premier League trophy 2 seasons before we move into that stadium. If we have done that, then we will be in the Champions League. And we may even have the possibility to play in the Club World Cup. Right there is pretty much 200 million easy money. Well, can United get back to them days? I don't know. Honestly, there's a lot of work to do and there's a lot going on. Okay. Colette Roach has also been talking. I don't want to bring this up quickly. This is Colette Roach, who is part of the board at Manchester United. So Jim Ratcliffe was alluding to her last night in his board meeting that he had. The first one that he's had while being in control of Manchester United since he's been here, with all of the board members available and the full team in the same meeting. She says, so we don't know is the answer. You've just said, what are we going to do with the stadium? The idea would be, we've done the outline stadium plans, master plan, so we know broadly where a line will be drawn. We're also working with the council about how much can be used for commercial, for housing, because it will be mixed use. Out of the back of that, we'll start to say how much is that going to cost. Some of that land will be owned by us, but some of that land will be owned by other people. Very, very complex. And I think this is just going to be a stage-by-stage of understanding for the rest of the fan base. I feel like that's inevitable, because it's a lot to take and there's a lot going into this. And when you think about everything that's happened, United have worked quick since Ineos have come in. There is a lot of walking going on with the talking from Ineos. That's one thing I will say. And they have moved very, very quickly with everything that's happening. 100%. Adam, naming rights 350 million, new sponsors 250 million, land sales 175 million, additional revenue 125, selling off parts of Old Trafford 100 million. That's $1 billion. Only got a loan 1 billion, and we're good. Marquez, you do some really, really in-depth weird working outs, don't you? League challenge about 5 or 10 years after stadium is built. It takes a long time. Kieran says, but he's not in control, is he? He only owns 28%, or did he forget that already? Remember when he had that first interview and someone asked him about only owning a certain amount of money but having sport and control, and worried about the rug being pulled from under him by the Glazers? And he said there is a deal and an agreement with the Glazers, and that's all in small print, and he's put it in the bottom drawer underneath everything else, and he's never going to worry about it. Remember that comment that he made? That's what Sir Jim Radcliffe said. Now, excuse me. Now, that I don't know what was in that, but that's what I think I'm alluding to as well as the unknown. That I feel is what's happening there. There is something that we don't... Sneezing fit. Sorry, everyone. There is something that we don't know is happening with Ineos and the Glazers, and I don't think we ever will. But someone one day will probably find out what it actually is. But there is something there that gives Ineos the confidence to do all of this work. There has to be something, doesn't there? There really does. V33 Ineos Centre, 1 billion from Ineos. Is that allowed? If City win the case, yes, it is. And that, at the end of the day, is why that City case against the Premier League, not the other way around for the 115 charges, City against that club ownership sponsorship is massive. And if they win that case, it opens up absolutely everything. Okay, couple more quotes coming in right now. This is from Barada. We haven't made a decision on it yet. It's true that at some point there was some thinking either keeping it as it is or reducing the capacity to 25 or 30,000 as somewhere where the women's team could play and youth teams could play. I think given our ambition to build what you saw today, maybe that needs to be revisited again. Our ambition is for the women's team to have... I'll just read on. It's the same quote. Sorry. I haven't made a decision yet. I don't know why it's actually doing the same one. 1 second, let me bring up the rest. I'm on the wrong page. Oh no, it's the same one. Sorry. Yeah. Our ambition is for the women's team to have a big enough fan base that they're playing in the main stadium, not in a smaller capacity stadium. Do you think the women's team will get to fill a 100,000 seater stadium in the future? I don't know. Is the answer to that. Right now the signs are nowhere near that, obviously, because we can't fill Old Trafford. But the ambition is there. Maybe a half a stadium being open, just the bottom tier for the women when they want to play. No issue at all with that. And then keep going from there. And they do keep mentioning the women's team as well, which is quite right in all of this. Whether you think it's important or not, I think it is. And I think they could be a big part of it. And they will bring in revenues for the club as well. They will. Okay, Snapdragon wanted virtual season tickets, etc. Say it's £30 a month and 1 million people, but in a 360 degrees million a stadium, 360 mil a season. All right, yeah, I got what you mean. There is that actually, that new thing, and Snapdragon have got a big part to play in all of this. I think that's something that we need to keep an eye on. As sponsors, they're going to be all over this. Maybe it will be the Snapdragon Stadium. It could well be. Fortunes are there, definitely. Lengthy chat with Omar Barada on taxpayers won't pay for the new stadium. Naming rights on the table. Construction could start this year. Risk elements, fate of Old Trafford. So Samuel Luckhurst has done a full piece on this as well. We will probably talk about this another time, actually, because we are getting on a little bit and football is coming up as well. But all that there pretty much tells you, look, taxpayers won't be paying for the new stadium. It is all coming from Manchester United. We know that for certain. Naming rights on the table, I expect them to be there. They would have probably already contacted many people for this, and big contracts will be there. Construction could start this year. Really? That is impressive if they do manage that. Risk element and the fate of Old Trafford. Like we just said, the quotes there about Old Trafford. I think it will be demolished, personally, which will be sad. But United do, in the end of the day, need to move on. And moving on is properly moving on without anything being left. Rob Phillip with a super chat. Thanks, I missed that one earlier on, mate. Please note to Sancho return. No, just to go over that quickly, if you have just joined us right at the end of the show again, there is some form of clause where Chelsea can back out of the Jadon Sancho deal if they want to pay a hefty penalty. How much that penalty is, we do not know. We've talked through everything there. The Honest Tiger has just renewed his membership as well. Just getting that through now. I had him. They will get investments and borrow from the banks to pay for this, which will put us in more debt. I can see your season tickets being doubled the price you pay now when it's built. Well, Omar Barada did actually talk about that. With it being a 100,000-seater stadium, there are going to be different payment options and different price tickets for everybody to suit everybody because they want to bring more people in. So that was his explanation to that. We'll have to just wait for the next instalment of updates on the new stadium and the pricing and all that comes around. Right now, we really want to know is, and what we want to know is when. Because when it is a when, and the building starts, then we will all be convinced that this is actually happening. Right now, even people outside Old Trafford today when I was there were thinking this is still a bit of a pipe dream and this isn't going to happen. So you got a lot more convincing to do anyway. But for now, that is it, everybody. No to Jadon Sancho. Please, God, no. And Manchester United, who is paying for the stadium? They're the comments I want you to get into in the live chat, everybody. Sorry, in the chat, in the comments, when the live stream is finished. I will see you all maybe later on Football Talks with my reaction to the Liverpool PSG game. If you haven't already, go and obviously subscribe to Football Talks as well, please, everyone. And for that, if you're back on FUTV, I will see you at 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, everyone. See you later.